Good afternoon, YouTube. Welcome back once again to the Fat Cat Collection. Today, folks, I got another watch I want to share with you guys, and that is by a company that goes by the name of CCCP. So CCCP is a brand of watch under the Dartmouth brand. Another awesome, fun company. One thing I love about Dartmouth brands is that each one of their companies sort of has a theme. And so, of course, CCCP is sort of, I guess, kind of Soviet themed, right? Now, in today's day and age, it is to be noted, you know, how do I address this? All right, so in today's day and age, with everything going on with Ukraine and Russia, there is, you know, I don't want to say the wrong thing, you know what I mean? And I also don't want to market a product that is, you know, that you think is going to, you know, further, you know, the support of Russia, whatever you may believe. I mean, that's not what this channel. This channel is not political. There is going to be no discussions about what I think is right or wrong or what I think should happen. We're just talking about fun watches. And so this is a, if we just go to the About section, I'll put a link in the description where you can read about them. And so it just says our collection takes inspiration from the Soviet era of Russian history. Now remember, history is history. And so this is not supporting, you know, Russia. This is not made in Russia, this brand. This is another Dartmouth brand, and just the inspiration is Russian history. So if you look at it from that mindset, you won't have any kind of negative feelings about the brand, okay? Same thing happened when I reviewed my Ushanka, the Russian kind of military, or not really, or a Russian winter hat. It does have a, you know, a Soviet logo on it. That is removable. Remember, guys, you know, wear what ultimately you feel comfortable with. If the fact this is, you know, themed after, or the inspiration is from the Soviet era of Russian history, then, you know, don't buy it. That's all I can really tell you. For those who don't care, like myself, you know, history is history, and you don't want to, you know, completely, you know, be against something because of, you know, its past. You know what I mean? That's just my opinion of it. Take it or leave it. For those who want to make comments, I mean, your comment will just be deleted. This isn't a platform to debate what you think I should wear or what I should like. You don't like it, you don't like it. So let's talk about their watches. So the one I'm going to share with you guys today is this bad boy right here. I am wearing it. Now remember, these watches are not going to be, you know, like your big Aragons, your big Invictas. They're more subtle watches. And again, the inspiration is from Russian history. Now, I will state that, like some of the Dartmouth brands, I like the fact that they have sort of a theme or inspiration behind their watches, right? The only thing that bugs me a little bit about some of the watches is that sometimes they really kind of stretch the inspiration. So let me read you, this one here they call the Buren. And so let me just read you what it says, and I'm going to pop that up in the video here. The Buren shuttle was a Soviet-developed reusable spacecraft in response to NASA's space program. I want to state that I do like the stories because I learn a little bit about every single watch I get, whereas normally I would never know that. So I'm learning a little bit as we go. I'll forget it in a day, but still. The project was a large stand, was the large stand most expensive in history of Soviet space exploration. While the space shuttle and the Buren program looked very similar, there was one noticeable design difference. Unlike the American space shuttle that relied on 3 hydrogen-fueled engines to aid in reaching orbit, the Soviet spacecraft carried only lighter maneuverable rockets, which gave it the capability of carrying heavier payloads and to and from space. Nearly all the propulsion necessary to launch Buren into space came from the world's most powerful booster rocket, the massive 20-story Energia. I think I'm saying that right. So, kind of a little bit of a history about the inspiration for the name here. It is to be noted, this is actually a Tritium tube automatic. You can see these in complete darkness without a charge, of course. And the Tritium tubes run right around the top of each indice. So really small Tritium tubes, but that's really cool because Tritium is an amazing element. I think I'm saying that right. Is it, not really, is it an element? I think it is an element. I don't have, I'm not Walter White, okay? But what's cool about Tritium is that you can see it in complete darkness. It'll continue to glow for, you know, I think when it reaches half-life, which I believe is like 20 years, but don't quote me on any of that. But Tritium is a radioactive decaying material that will produce light. So you don't need to charge it up. I love when they use tritium tubes on watches. It's just a little more expensive, so you don't see it a lot. But Aragon's doing it. Invicta doesn't do it on much, but Aragon's been known to do it, and many other brands out there, of course. But very cool. They I didn't actually know that until I started doing the video. Guys, when I do these watch reviews, a lot of times I actually learn about the watch when I'm actually doing the filming of the video. And the reason I do that is because I like to kind of like make this extremely raw and honest, you know, unscripted review. So you're kind of, it's almost like we're in a shop looking at watches and we're like, ooh, let me check that out. And I'm discovering it for the first time with you guys. So pretty cool. So tritium tubes, and the reason I chose this one here, it is available in a couple different color options, but when you have as many watches as I do, when I request these samples, I try to get things that are a little bit different. So I like the orange and the blue, very dive related, just a good looking watch. Very clean, simple, 316 stainless steel. It's one of our check boxes. This one does have an automatic movement. Unfortunately, like most of the Dartmouth brands, they don't list the movements, but my girl is actually in the process of getting me movement specifications as I request them. This is a new brand for Fat Cat Collection, so as I get that information, you guys will get that information. I'll eventually do a spreadsheet showing you guys all the watches I've reviewed with the exact movements, because it is important. But I suspect this is probably a Miyota of some sort. Japanese automatic three-hand with date. So that's what they list on their website, but they do need to list that. This does have sort of a bluish dial, more of a like a navy blue, and you get that kind of aqua and orange across around sort of the bezel area. Very cool, very clean, very simple, and I like the color combination on this. Again, it's hard with so many watches out there to find things that are kind of unique. So this one, that kind of helps that. No subdials applied, indices or indexes. Solid stainless steel bracelet. It does have 5 ATMs of water resistance and a 2-year warranty. Dual push button deployant clasp. You know, like I said, very simple, very basic. Showing that CCCP logo with the 4 stars in the back. Pretty cool. Now, 13.9 millimeters in case thickness. You know, pretty standard on a lot of watches. 43 millimeter case diameter, and it does have a sapphire crystal with an anti-reflective coating. So that's a real checkbox for a lot of folks. You know, this is the kind of watch that, you know, this brand is going to be a little bit of a tougher brand for people to discover. And that's what's really kind of fun about getting watches like this onto the channel. I've always been kind of fascinated with, you know, even though I don't spend a lot of time, you know, educating my mind with like history lessons or anything like that, but I've always been kind of fascinated with, you know, little snippets of history like this. And I like the fact that, you know, that Dartmouth also have their Nubeo line, which is more of like a sea/space related. I almost feel like they couldn't really decide on what to go with, so they did both. Still pretty cool. Nubeo, I think, really, you know, definitely tends to gravitate more towards space-themed stuff, but they do have the sea-related stuff as well. With this, I'm not sure if, you know, there's a lot of Russian, you know, there's a lot of history in Russia, of course, like any, you know, any part of the world, right? I mean, every country has their element of history, but with the Russians, I know, you know, there was the whole space race, the Cold War and things like that, where Russia and the United States kind of were at odds on a lot of different things, you know, and you know, I think a lot that can be said for a lot of, you know, superpower countries, but you know, I know, you know, the United States and Russia definitely we're kind of in a race there with this, you know, space race, you know, so pretty cool to have a little bit of history about, you know, their spacecraft being used, and it's definitely something I would like to research a little bit more. Now, let's talk about the inspiration. So, to me, a lot of times when at least this particular brand, I've seen it on other brands that Dartmouth does, is that although they have a story with this watch and a name, the Buren, there's nothing about this watch that's themed after this particular craft. You know what I mean? When I look at this, there's not a picture of the spacecraft on it. There's not any design elements. It's not like the spacecraft was, you know, I don't know, orange and aqua, right? Or orange and blue, or baby blue, whatever that color is. There's really nothing on this that really, you know, other than what I assume could possibly be maybe no, I don't even think that. I was looking at the hour marker, or the hour hand, and there is a tritium tube. I believe that's a tritium tube on there. there's kind of what looks like 2 tritium tubes. And in the link in the description, you can check it out on their website. I'm sure throughout this video I have pictures popping up everywhere. But I'm not sure if that's related somehow to the spacecraft. Let me just take a look while I got you guys here. And just take a look at if there's anything Buran Space Shuttle that I can pull from you know, the design of the space shuttle. Is there any kind of inspiration here? And to me, when I look at the Buren, Buren, and I look at like our actual space shuttle, they're very, very similar. So I don't really see any real design elements that say, hey, I get where they were going with this watch. It just doesn't, other than just calling it that and having a story, it doesn't really make any sense. And this is just one thing that, you know, I'm always honest with you guys and with the companies I'm working with on their watches or products in general. And when they do a watch like this, I always want to tell them, like, hey, you know, where is the inspiration here? And to me, this is kind of like a mass-produced, quick attempt at saying, all right, we got to come up with a name for this watch, so let's make a story about it. What I'd rather see with this watch is just have the logo, the CCCP, call it the Buren, right, if you want to. But in all honesty, I'd rather just see them create their own name for it and just leave it at that. Or not give you the spiel. Now, I do understand that they named the watch after the space shuttle. And, you know, they're just telling you about where that name came from. But I don't think that... and I'm not saying they are saying that in this case, this watch is even themed after that. It's just telling you what the name is and where I guess they got the name. But they definitely do a big write-up. What I would rather see is them saying the watch is called the Buren, and we named it the Buren because this is part of Russian history and part of the space program, and this is where we got the name from. There's really nothing about this watch that's really themed on the Buren, you know what I mean? So it would have been really nice if at minimum they had a picture of the space shuttle on the back, or even made the hands sort of replicate what the space shuttle looked like. I think that's all they would really have had to done, or just put something subtle on here. I don't know, maybe make the indices in the shape of the shuttle, but I think the hour hand or the minute hand would have been a really great opportunity to go ahead and just make that the shape of the shuttle. And then you can say, oh, well, this is the Buren, and you can see where the inspiration came from. Because otherwise, it's really just a name, and there's really no point in even mentioning the write-up. So, again, getting back to the name, I would like to see them, instead of having the write-up about the history of the Buren, is just name it Buren, and then just leave it at that, put the specifications. Again, this is a very small gripe. This is not something that should make you not want to buy the watch, of course, but I like to see when they name something or they theme it, I like to see it actually see those design elements on the watch. It is to be noted, too, they actually have on the watch here, as far as I can tell, I believe when it's, I'm not going to try to pronounce this, but it says here something, auto something. I believe they're mentioning the specifications, the automatic, and the depth rating in Russian. So I like that they have the Russian, you know, it is a Russian-inspired watch. I'm glad that they at least put that information in Russian. So that's a real plus there. And I think that, you know, things like that help to, you know, just kind of make the watch stand out a little bit as being different. Now, I don't believe these are made in Russia. Most likely these are probably made in China, but again, don't quote me on that. But I do think it would be more interesting, although you may not want to buy it nowadays with everything going on, if it was made in Russia. So that is a concern too. You might want to, you know, email me and I get you an answer for that. But I do encourage you to check out the other models, the other designs. They're pretty fun, pretty unique, and again, it's you know, it's hard when you have so many different watch companies out there and everybody kind of doing the sea-related stuff, and at least they have the space stuff. I do think it becomes difficult to try to like build your brand around something that's going to give it some sort of identity. So kudos to them for creating something like this. Again, I think I guess in my opinion, the coolest part about this is just the fact that they have the automatic, so what I'm trying to say, that they have the markings on the dial in Russian as opposed to English. I think that would have been really stupid to have this Russian themed watch with automatic and the depth rating in English. So that's pretty cool. Another brand that this kind of reminds me of is And one's been on my radar for a while. Let me just look at that. But these ones are actually made in Russia. The company is Vostok, and they make one called the Commandersky. It's been on my list for a while, that bright red face, but I'm really glad. I probably won't get that now, because with this company, if I want that kind of Russian styling or that Russian theme, you know, or that Russian inspiration, I can get it right from this brand here. So again, check them out, man. Let me know what you guys think. I'm always curious to hear what my subscribers think about these different brand watches I reviewed, because a brand like this, although isn't necessarily something that, you know, really kind of draws me in, it is very interesting. And there are a few on here that I hope I can get my hands on. And I encourage you to check out the Condor, kind of big, bold. You know, these are very colorful watches. And every single one that they have here, for the most part, has kind of like an interesting kind of pattern, you know, or kind of an interesting color combination. Like this one here, the orange and the aqua. Although it's very subtle, it's still pretty cool that it's there. They do make it in a yellow and blue with sort of like almost like a lighter gray face. They make it in all red. You know, several different options for you to choose from. When I click down the list here, and I'm going to pop up a few pictures here, there's a couple that are almost like Submariner style that are, you know, kind of different in their own way as far as how they do the face. Again, I'm not going to describe it to you, but you can check it out. One of the ones I'm going to review here in the next couple of weeks is one called the Kemzolkin. And that's pretty cool because you actually have the hammer and sickle as part of the second hand and hour marker. So that's pretty cool with that bright star on there. I like they've integrated the star on several of their watches. Another one's very interesting, very retro-ish, and I think I requested this, they didn't have it. It's called the Typhoon. It's red on red, very Soviet-styled. But a lot of these, to be honest with you, if you didn't have the CCCP name and the I guess description to go along with what the inspiration is for these watches, they could have gone, you know, a million different ways with this, you know, because there's nothing really tying each watch into, I guess, the inspiration is what I'm trying to say. I hope that's making sense to you guys. But nonetheless, every watch brand out there is still very cool, and it's another one for the collection. So let me show you what the watch looks like on the wrist and give you an idea what it looks like on a guy my size, my height, and my weight. So I'm about 5'7.5". I weigh about 180 pounds. And I have a 7-inch wrist. And of course, this has been already sized. I took out 4 links. And, you know, pretty simple, pretty straightforward, clean watch with that Russian inspiration. Pretty awesome. It almost kind of reminds me of like an Invicta Aviator, the full 55mm version that I sold a while back. Just kind of like that real smooth, round bezel, sort of like a deep dish face. Very interesting looking watch. Now these are limited edition pieces, like pretty much all the Dartmouth branded watches. I do want to show you the case here, kind of interesting. This is number 99 of 300. So when they do limited edition, I've noticed a lot of the Dartmouth brand watches are in that 300 range limited edition. You know, definitely limited when you look at the the amount of people we have in the world, but you know, still a decent number of watches. But here's your box, CCP logo. We have number 99 on the back. Slides open, of course. Basic cardboard, nothing really to write home about as far as the presentation. Pretty much what you're going to see on most boxes out there. Crack it open, we have that bright red interior, very sharp, with all kinds of paperwork falling out. You have your Buren tag, and this gives you the number of the watch, the limited edition piece, and then again the same write-up just telling you about the Buren space shuttle. And then of course we have your instruction manual, which, you know, not really much you're going to find there, and I think there's a warranty tag in it. So pretty straightforward. But I do give them credit for, you know, kind of their inspiration. Although a watch like this, I would say, if I'm being 100% honest, isn't one that I generally would more like kind of gravitate towards, just because it is very simple in design. And I think that when we look at the masses of watches out there, when I'm going onto their website, there are other watches that, although I have many Submariner homage watches, I think there's a reason why people really appreciate that, is because it is such an iconic very popular, very safe, very user-friendly watch. And so they have a couple on here that kind of call out to me that I wouldn't mind adding to the collection and sharing. But, you know, as far as the other versions, there's nothing on here that I see that, you know, really, I mean, they're all unique in their own way, but nothing that really kind of screams out to me that this is, you know, I think that the brand just needs this particular brand. And you're going to see the other ones on here, right? The other versions or the other models I have. But there's nothing about this brand with the CCP that really, you know, fires out at me as screaming Russia, you know. And I think that, you know, the Russian as a people, and, you know, as a country and with their history, I think that, you know, and I could be wrong here. I'm not Russian, of course, but, you know, I think that Russians are very proud people, you know, and I think there's a lot of, you know, and I know every you know, nationality or, you know, every type of person, you know, has pride, right? But I feel like Russia is very proud to be Russian, you know, and I could be totally wrong. And this is, you know, why I do these videos kind of unedited, you know, just to kind of speak my mind and just kind of like give you guys my honest, you know, take on these cool products that I get. But I because I feel like it's such a, you know, it's so powerful to be Russian, right? And I feel like their people feel that way. And if you are Russian and I'm wrong, tell me. But I would like to see something that really screams Russian. And that means every watch has to have a bright red star on it or a big hammer and sickle. Every single one. I think that this brand and the identity of Russia and the Russian people, I think, is so powerful that it really needs more to be in your face like, this is Russia. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense. But again, just my take. I want to give you guys my honest review on these things, and that's what I have to say about it. So, as always, guys, thanks for watching. I do appreciate your time to share these almost 20 minutes with me and check out these cool watches. I hope you've seen enough pictures on the videos. I've been trying to add a little bit more of animated shots to give you guys some close-ups here. A lot of times in the past when I do reviews, I show you the watch, you know, here and there, but and then show you the wrist shot, of course, which is important. But during the video, I want you guys to be able to make the determination, you know, is this a watch I'm even interested in before you even, you know, take the time to watch the whole video. So do let me know what you think. I always appreciate the comments. As always, guys, have a wonderful day. Subscribe to the channel and take care.